So today I have a local sister here in Houston with me, Allison. And so Allison has made a recent switch to a new career path. Now, here's the thing that I say about switches, changes, and paths: there are no wasted experiences. Everything that we've been doing is leading us to the place that we need to be, where we need to go. So, with that, Allison, tell us about kind of your background, what you've been doing in the banking finance world, and where you are headed now with this personal branding.
Awesome. Well, thank you. First of all, thank you for having me.
For
You're like
sure.
one of my favorite people to have conversations and dialogues with. So I'm honored to be on here. And thank you for inviting me to your platform and to be part of Maven Nation. I'm excited.
Yeah.
So my name is Allison McFarland. For the last 15 years, I have had the pleasure and the honor of being in the finance industry, in the entrepreneur business banking space, dealing with commercial clients from, I would like to say, from 0 to maybe 50 million, just depending on where I was in my career at that particular time. So I have a vast knowledge in that space. And I was so fortunate enough to have this entrepreneur bug probably bite a couple years ago, but really being able to execute on it has recently happened for me. I've gotten to a place where it was a pivot. It was time to pivot. I felt like there was more for me outside of the four walls of the bank. So I left the four walls of the bank and now I'm here in my personal branding and marketing with Allison McFarland Inc. Super excited. Um, this is just a passion of mine that now, instead of doing it for free, I can actually charge. So I'm excited.
But she's like, yeah, yeah, listen, Houstonians, y'all been getting this advice for free. Allison about to put some price assignments on these things. Um, so first let's start with, what is personal branding? I know people hear that and they're like, well, what does that really mean? So what does personal branding mean, and how does that look for people?
So I think it's fun because we're in such a fun space ever since COVID. So
Mhm.
personal branding is you creating your own marketing strategy for yourself.
Okay.
Can include your corporation, like your corporate job, but you having a strategy for yourself. If you're trying to get promoted, if you want to become a thought leader, if you're trying to just pivot and change everything of your entire existence and do something
Okay.
different. That's where personal branding comes in. Many times, I would say before COVID, you would only look at like a corporate executive or like some C-suite that would actually get personal branding. But we're in such a space now where if you don't really have it and you don't understand how to maximize it, you're leaving money on the table.
I love that. And that is so true because traditionally we have associated personal branding with CEOs, executives, more that level. But especially as an entrepreneur,
Right.
your personal brand is so important because as you go out wanting to do business with individuals or B2B corporations, listen, they're going to Google you. It's
Yep.
it's going to happen. And what they find about you uh adds to or takes away from your personal brand.
So
That's
true. So
simply
true.
it.
So true.
So, I say to people, look, every now and then, Google yourself. Google yourself and you see what comes up about you. That way, if there's some things you need to manage or whatever needs to happen, you can be on top of that. And then you don't lose out on some work or some business just because there's something showing up that you're not even aware of. Okay, that you're
I
not even aware of. Um, so let's you one of the things you talk about is practice what you preach,
Yes, ma'am.
no hypocrisy. I love that quote. And listen, we if we had the coins running deep, we could rent a plane and fly that across the world because that's another thing about personal branding. It's
Yes.
it's so, especially in the digital space,
Yes.
it seems to be easy to get distracted looking at doing the comparison journey about what someone else is doing with their personal brand. And how do you help people and suggest that they stay focused on their authentic voice? Like, and how does that evolve? I always say my business, my brand has evolved as I have evolved.
Mhm.
Now, that doesn't mean my authentic voice, I don't think, has changed, but maybe I learned more about it, get deeper into it. So how does that work where folks are not watching the trends, if you will, on social platforms and always hopping around to try to do that. How that doesn't really help your personal brand.
No, I don't think so. Not at all. So I think, yes, no hypocrisy. So there's a lot of smoke and mirrors. There's tons of smoke and mirrors. Um, you know, who really, I just like, ooh, you know who's really doing it. And then you know who's really not really doing it, but just pretending like they're doing it and
Right.
everybody's flocking. So you just got to be careful and really watch what people are doing and then what they're doing. Does it match what they're saying or are they just
Okay.
really just doing?
Yeah.
Um, I feel like that's a huge thing, especially in that personal branding, because your personal branding, if you're going to be, is it should speak to the authenticity of who you are. Like I
Right.
shouldn't have to question who you are. Your brand should line up on every platform. And I think the last time me and you did this, the session at HTC, I talked about this. Your brand should line up on every platform. But then when I see you in person, are you the same person that I see
Right.
online? There
Right.
should not be a difference.
Yeah.
Um, and hey, life happens, right?
Right.
We're not always on. Like, neither one of us wake up looking like, oh, let's go.
Right.
But the thing is to stay authentic to who you are, regardless of what's going on. There will be fads. There will be things that people are like, oh, you should do this, you should do that. But I think what I love that you titled this, staying in your own lane.
Yes.
Don't move because everybody will have a lane for you to jump in. They'll want to put some stuff in your lane, but you've got to own your space because that's truly where your authenticity and your power of your personal brand comes. Because we're at a point now where people want real. They don't
Yes.
want microwave. They want to know that you know what you're talking about, that you've had this experience, that you have the proof that you actually do this and you do it at a high level. And you're not just telling me something because you learned it on Clubhouse or you saw it on Instagram Live from a quote unquote expert, but
Right.
you live it. You understand what I'm saying? And it's got to be
Yeah.
tested. Like it's got to
Right.
be battle tested for me to follow anybody because I need to know that it actually works and you know what you're doing and you can actually help me navigate where I'm trying to go. So I feel like with anything, just make sure you stay true to who you are and that you're like testing these people out before you sign up for stuff.
Yeah, that, and sadly you hear, I've been a full-time entrepreneur now for almost 8 years, and I've heard the horrible stories of
Yeah.
people giving their money to someone who created a brand on social that was not authentic to who they were or what they could deliver.
Right.
So you find people with these tragedies of paying thousands of dollars to someone that did have the ability to create a great personal brand on digital platforms, but yet their authentic work could not deliver on what they said. So let's talk about this lane
Okay.
concept a little bit. How has your finance background, banking and all of that helped you really define even more this personal branding lane, and how does the money piece
Oh
tie
yeah.
into that?
So, great question. So, when I think of my banking background kind of helping me define the lane I'm in now, there's so many banks. So, I had to learn my personal brand very early in my career and
Okay.
understand that there were different times that it had to pivot and different times that I had to be something different for where I was at that particular time. So, when I was dealing with clients in that less than $1 million space, I might not go super detailed in certain situations as I would with a client that's in a $50 million or higher space, just because
Got
I
it.
want to meet that person where they're at so they have that understanding. So understanding the importance of that, you're like, I think we said this even before you got on, that your personal brand, your authenticity shouldn't change. You stay true to who you are, but your brand will change as you level up. Hey.
Yeah.
So yeah, your
Yeah.
brand.
Yeah. I love that. And that's the evolution piece, right?
Yeah.
The work that I do today versus the work and how I did it 8 years ago has evolved, and it should be evolving. Dear God, I'm
Yes.
working in the space, getting better, right? It
Yeah.
should be evolving. But the thing that often concerns me with personal branding is when I see people jumping around.
Yeah.
1 month they're a florist, next month they're a baker. I'm like, who are you? And
Yeah.
it makes me wave my caution flag when I see people that try to do 5 things at once, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
you're confusing your customer or your potential customer.
Correct.
And I often say that every space has lots of options. So if
Right.
someone wants to work with you and you cause them to have questions about who you are, they're just going to go to the next person
Right.
that does have a solid step. So that's
Right.
one of those things that keep digging, keep getting deeper in your
Mhm.
lane
Yep.
versus trying to come out and go wide. Go
Yeah.
deep.
Yeah.
Go
You got.
go deep in the lane. Yeah,
Yep.
build a trench with that.
And that and
Yeah, go
that's
ahead.
true. That's true because I wanted to touch on. I forgot I didn't answer how does that affect you to get money. So especially as an
Yeah,
entrepreneur, you want to make sure your goals are clearly defined. And if you don't have the time to clearly define them, and you need help, kind of going through that, get the help you need so that you can be clear on what you're doing. Because you waste a lot of time and resources when you just throw things at the wall hoping that it sticks, right?
yeah,
So you want to make sure that you get to people that are reputable, that have a proven track record, that can be vetted,
yeah.
and can and put you in position that you will be successful. Because a lot of reason why small businesses fail is because they
Mhm.
don't have the visibility. They
Yeah,
might have an awesome product, but no one knows about it. So if no one
right.
knows about your product, how successful are you going to be? So, oh, I'm about to preach, but how successful are you going to be? But on top of that, understanding that your brand is a lane and your business is a lane. So
Okay.
understanding that in the beginning, you might be in that lane together, but eventually the names need to go two separate ways. You need to have your own brand, and then the business has its brand, because that's
Right.
another thing. A lot of entrepreneurs want to hold on to it as, oh, this is my baby forever and ever. And I'm fully realistic in the fact that yes, my company is named after me,
Right.
but it's a whole backstory of why that had to happen. But I understand that as of right now, it's one. But once I start really defining what AMI is, it's going to be Allison, the individual, and then AMI, the company. So it's going to be two different things. But since I'm just coming out and
Yeah.
be like, hey, this is what I got going on, you're one until
Yeah.
you become two.
I love that. And here's what I would remind women, men that are in a similar situation as you, just kind of coming out with this new part of your journey. Be okay being a beginner. Listen,
Yeah,
you don't have to get in the lane and then immediately go 100 miles an hour. It's probably 99% not going to happen that way.
yeah,
So there's no reason to put that stress on yourself, to beat yourself up that I'm not going as fast as someone who's been in their lane for 5 years. Take your
and
time. And
yep,
and here the clarity, like I cannot stress enough how digging into clarity. And again, if you are unsure about what your brand should look like, what it should feel like, all of those things, get with someone to support you because clarity offers the opportunity for acceleration.
yep,
Now, why do I say opportunity? Because all clarity doesn't mean you should go faster.
right,
But sometimes, if you've ever been driving behind someone in a car and they don't have clarity about where they're going, they're
yep,
slowing down, they're putting the blinker on, they're turning it off, and you're like, get out of the way.
right,
That's what that can feel like in a as a business owner or an executive or one wanting to move into the executive space. You don't have clarity about where you want to go. What do I want my personal brand to even look like, to feel like? What's my authentic voice? And there is no shame in not knowing all of that all by yourself. I have had amazing mentors, coaches, sponsors that have helped me tune this brand that I have now. I did
yep.
not do that alone. So, what's some of the steps someone can take? A couple steps they can say, okay, Allison and Myra, y'all win. I do not have clarity about this personal brand and what I want it to look like. And here's another thing, it's perfect timing to kind
Yeah,
of get through that in the holidays so that when 2024 starts, you have more clarity to either accelerate or at least move with clarity. So, what's some steps people can take right now to say, I'm not sure, I don't have clarity around my personal brand? What should they be doing?
I would definitely say reach out to an expert. So like I do a 15-minute consultation for free,
Okay.
and that's me kind of not a full deep dive, right? But
Yeah.
enough to give you a starting point. So reach out to somebody that you can has been battle tested and you can see that what they're doing is what they're doing in real life, not just on the internet.
Right.
Uh, so that would be one step. And also coaching. I think executive coaching, mentorship, sponsorship are so essential because I have coaches and then I have sponsors. So that's
Mhm.
different. And
Yeah.
then this is to my people in the workplace who are looking to possibly start creating a personal brand. You need sponsorships outside of your organization
Okay.
because organizations change, things happen, things change. You can't say, oh, I'm going to be in this job for 30 years. No, you might not. So you want people in the community that can vouch for you, that can help open up the next door or open up that next opportunity because you've already started that relationship. So that's huge. I'm huge on coaching, sponsorship, and mentorship, and then relationships. And don't just call people when you need something, but
Right.
actually check on them, see how they're doing, see, kind of give them an update on where you're at and what you've got going on, just so it's a true relationship and you're not just calling when you need something,
Yeah.
because that's annoying.
Yeah.
And
Is and is. And listen, it's networking season. There's a party, a networking event. Doggone it, Houston is the fourth largest city. In
oh,
every day of the week, you can be somewhere. I don't advise you being there every
no,
day of the week, but be
yeah,
strategic and get in the rooms with the people that you know you want to connect with. And listen, you got to do that work.
yeah,
I know you listen, all the introverts that are screaming at the screen right now, Myra, I don't like going out. I get it, but you're gonna have to put on your cute clothes and you're gonna have to get out there. It has to happen so that you can start to build those relationships. And like Allison said, relationship building is a skill set. That's something you keep working on. And just because you might not need that person today, if you've identified, but this is a person I really want in my network, cultivate that
mhm,
relationship so that now you're making investments, you're making deposits into the relationship. So when you need to make a withdrawal, there's something there. Allison's background banking world, deficits and
mhm.
assets, right? We don't pull out of an account. You don't have anything in it.
Investment, yep.
Yeah, make sure you're doing that. So that networking piece. Um, what's been a great connection that you've made, I'm going to say post banking world, so in your new space,
Okay.
that or maybe you made it in the banking world and it has been a critical connector for you since you've gone full time as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so I am a huge proponent, and anybody that knows me knows this. I love the Greater Houston Women's Chamber.
Okay.
Um, I think they've done a great work of bringing women together. So my space that I absolutely love is that woman empowerment.
Yeah.
I think men are great, but I love that women empowerment space because I feel like, not just feel like, I know I've been a single mom for 16 years. So
Okay.
I've had like cultivate that and this whole child that's a woman. So woman empowerment has really been my thing that kind of helps us push that train forward and helps her own her space. And what I love about the Greater Houston Women's Chamber is all are welcomed and there's
Okay.
resources beyond even small business mentorship, helping you get on boards, understanding. It's just a great resource, and they're very, Susan and Shayla are very intentional about what they offer and who's in the room and why it's
Okay.
important to be in the room. So you want to go plug in with organizations that are not just trying to take your money, but actually help you grow in the process. Um, there's a lot
Super
of
important.
organizations out there, but that's my favorite. That's
Yeah.
probably my top one. Um,
Super important because it does you no good as a corporate professional or an entrepreneur to keep showing up at networking events with an organization and you're not gaining anything. It should
right,
be a win-win situation. And if
right.
it's not, I mean, I've been a part of orgs for 1 year, as long as my membership carried me, and gotten out because I was like, that was nothing. That was absolutely nothing.
Mhm.
So here's the other thing I want us to chat about. So let's say someone gets clarity around their personal branding, they work with someone to help them gain this clarity, they're taking steps. How do they leverage this personal brand to help them with promotions in the corporate space, getting business as an entrepreneur? How does this personal brand, we're talking about personal brand, they're like, oh, Myra and Allison, that's real cute, but why do I need to do this? What does this leverage for them?
We live in a digital world. You are seen before you're seen. So, so
True.
social media is huge. Even for, I can't think of how many times I've probably gotten business off of LinkedIn, connections, friendships,
Yes.
mentorships, sponsorships. We live in such a digital space that you would be, you're truly missing out if you're not taking advantage of it. And LinkedIn and Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all these great digital spaces, especially if you're in the entrepreneur space.
Hmm.
And even like I can honestly say I've gotten jobs when I was in banking off of being on LinkedIn and just the things that the other banks saw me doing in the community, or
Yeah.
just how they saw that I'm super visible. And so it was beneficial to me. But now it's just, now that I've pivoted from the bank, it's showing that, hey, she's no longer with the bank, but she's doing a new thing. So here's her new thing. She's personal branding. So I definitely think it's in everyone's best interest to be on some type of social platform. LinkedIn is my favorite.
Yeah.
I feel like I've made my best connections off of LinkedIn. It's great for business resources. And like I was telling some other people the other day, I don't understand why people don't maximize it more, because there's so many opportunities on there.
Yeah.
It's like endless, and connections. Like I've made some really great friends in New York. I've made some really good friends in Florida. I've made some great friends in Nigeria.
Right.
And I'm here in my house in not moving,
Right.
but made these amazing connections with other people that in that personal branding space, where I can bounce ideas off, that were C-suites at different organizations that are now doing their thing separately. Like, I think it's such a blessing.
Yeah. So here's something I'm going to add. So when you're working on your personal brand, get clear about where the audience is that you want to either do business with, connect with, whatever it is. As Allison is saying, for business connections, as a corporate professional, an entrepreneur that wants to do B2B business,
Yep.
LinkedIn is the platform. It
Yep.
it is a place that you need to be. So don't worry about, like, I don't have a TikTok account for my business. Now, there are people that are doing amazing business via TikTok.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the people Myra serve, that I want to serve. They're not looking for me on TikTok. They're just not. They're not. So I don't spend any time over there. So I
Right.
want folks to hear that when you're working on this personal brand, be clear about where you need to be.
Right.
To do well and build a solid personal brand on a platform, you need to spend some time on it.
Yep.
Can you do that as a solo person on all 5 or 6 great platforms? Probably not. Or you would just simply be exhausted. That's all you would get to do. So be intentional to find out, where is the folks I want to personally connect with? Where are they? And I always say to clients, you be where they are.
Right.
The people that want to hire me, that want to work with me, they're not going to go to TikTok and say, okay, well, maybe she's over there, let me look over there. They're just going to find the person on LinkedIn that's
Yeah.
also doing what I do.
Yeah.
So here it is, end of year, we're in fourth quarter. Today
Yeah.
is November 1st, dear God.
Wow.
67 days left in the year. um what's one thing, if someone's new to this, what's one thing they can do so that come January they're positioned better with their personal brand than they are right now today?
I think something that you said that I love, that you keep saying, that I think is valuable, is understanding what your goal is, being
Okay.
clear on that. I think this is a great time to gain clarity, so that when January 1 hits, you're clear on where you're going and no one can stop you. So you've taken that time to define what your lane is going to be and what you're going after. Um, I feel like that's the best thing anyone can do right now, because
Yeah.
because we're going into the holidays, so you won't be as busy
Yeah.
depending on what you do. But yeah, just being able to really define what it is that you're trying to accomplish, set yourself some goals, and then you're off to the races once January 1 starts.
I love it. Allison, let Maven Nation know where they can find you, how they can connect with you.
So you can connect with me on LinkedIn, because that's my favorite platform.
Yes.
I am on TikTok, but I do not dance, but I have a few videos on there. Like, I don't do any of those TikTok things. And I'm on Instagram too. So it's Allison McFarlane Inc. on all platforms. So that's LinkedIn, TikTok, and Instagram. And yeah, and then I have a
I love
beautiful
it. I love it. So listen, no worries. If you missed this live, I'm gonna repost it so that you can catch all of these goodies. So listen, that you don't start the top of 2024 in confusion. You will have your clarity about your personal brand. And listen, Allison is taking clients. So listen, get with Allison and get what you need. So next Wednesday, same time, 12:30, join me here. My guest is going to be Jasmine Brand of Her Texas, out of Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
I can't wait to have that conversation with her. Now, here's a free item I have to help you with your clarity. So go to my website, myrashaw.com, click on the 3 moves tab, and that's going to give you a quick video series on 3 moves to achieve success with saneness. Y'all know I'm about the balance. I'm about the saneness. We can do this work, but we do not have to kill ourselves doing it. So I'll see you again next Wednesday at 12:30 right here on LinkedIn and YouTube Live. Until then, have a great rest of day.
Bye.
Thanks, Allison.
Thank you.